Brand partnerships from the A to the Z. What goes on behind the scenes from the moment you land a brand deal until you get paid? Let's talk about it. My name is Anna. Welcome to A Mom Creates, where we talk about motherhood, lifestyle, content creation, homeschooling, online businesses, and how to balance it all as a mom. As someone who's worked with more than 100 brands to date, I am going to backtrack a little bit and tell you that the very first step for making things run as smooth as possible is to be prepared for the yes. Your mindset from the beginning has to go from if I land this partnership to when I land this partnership. I am going to share 6 things that you can start looking at right now so you can lock them in, have them all set up in place before you start any work with any brand. Thing number 1 is your rates. You want to have a clear idea on a number because it is one of the very first questions that a brand is going to ask you, and potentially it is one of the reasons they may or may not decide to work with you. Remember that rates are negotiable and that not every partnership will look the same, but having a number in mind is going to be a great starting point for any brand partnership. Thing number 2 is a non-negotiable, and it is a contract or an agreement. You're gonna notice that many brands and especially marketing agencies do have agreements in place, but if you ever encounter a brand or an agency that doesn't work with them, you always want to make sure you send them yours. I created mine using Canva and AI, and now that you're in the pre-game, before the actual game of brand partnerships, is the perfect moment to have yours in place. The third thing to have ready is a way for you to get paid. The last thing you want is to go through an entire brand partnership and get to the point where you're expecting payment and then have absolutely no clue on how this money is gonna come your way. There are some brands who will have their specific payment platforms. Some of them might require you to sign up to them. Some may be even open to do bank transfers, but my preferred method for receiving content creator payments is Stripe. Fourth thing you want to have ready is your content tool. You want to have your selfie lights, your tripod, maybe a microphone, you know what I mean. The next thing you want to have ready is a way for you to share your content with the brand. My preferred method is Google Drive. It's so easy to set up if you have a Gmail account, or if you are creating a Gmail account that is going to be specific to your content creation business. Make sure you set up your Google Drive. Sharing content through there is so easy. You literally just transfer files and then share the link, and that's it. Last thing to have ready before we jump into our brand partnership workflow is an editing tool. I use CapCut and have been using it for the longest time. It is very easy to use on your phone. You can also use it on your computer. Having that set up and knowing how to use it is essential before you start working with brands. If you'd like some help figuring CapCut out, I have a quick tutorial linked in the caption below. Okay, we are starting this. So when a brand partnership starts, it usually happens in one of these 2 ways. The first one is the most likely to happen when you are starting out, and is through you reaching out directly to a brand, maybe through pitching, maybe through an Instagram DM. The second way a partnership can start, which is actually my favorite, is through an email inbound. Meaning a brand found you maybe through your content, maybe through someone recommending your work, maybe they bump into your name somewhere, but they decided to reach out directly to you. The next step after this first interaction is usually the negotiation part. You get to discover more about the brand, they get to share whatever they have in mind, they get to ask you about your rates, and you get to understand a little bit better of what this partnership will entail. For the most part, this negotiation step will take a couple of emails. It will take some back and forth, and you're gonna decide things like rates, deadlines, amount of videos, type of content. Maybe you're doing photos as well. Maybe you're doing sponsored content. You are also going to decide payment terms and the usage of the content. Then you're gonna move into the next stage, and we briefly talked about this already, and it is the contract or agreement signing. Again, brands or agencies that have them will send it your way, and most likely it will include everything that you have locked in during your negotiations. But if a brand doesn't have it, you want to make sure you are including everything that you have discussed in your agreement, and then you're gonna share it with the brand. A couple of things I want to mention about contract signing. Read it through, check everything before you sign, and if there is a brief involved, for example, if a brand is sharing a list of clips that they want you to shoot, check all of that before you sign. Also, make sure you don't receive any product before the agreement has been signed. The next step in our brand partnerships workflow is product delivery. Unless you are working for a digital product or a service or an experience, most products will take approximately 5 to 7 days to get delivered, but while you are waiting, there is something very important that you could be doing. Okay, maybe not that important, but definitely clever and super useful. As a mom, I started doing this with my brand partners, and it saves me so much time. Okay, so in the window where you are waiting for your product delivery, you can start discussing concepts and even send scripts to the brand for them to approve. So when the product finally gets to you, all you have to do is shoot. Once my scripts have been approved, I like to start organizing all of my shoots. And again, once the product arrives, it just makes it so much easier and faster as a mom with 3 kids to tackle everything like a champ. The next step is a fun one, and probably one that you've been looking forward to, because once the product arrives, it is shooting time. And this is when your script, this is one of the reasons why your script is gonna come in so handy. You're gonna use it as a guide, as a storyline, and then you are going to organize your shooting. I like not shooting everything in one day. I usually split my days depending on what I'm gonna shoot. Some days I shoot with my kids, some days I do only product shots, some days I do talking to camera, kind of like what I'm doing right now. So having the scripts is gonna help me organize all of this beforehand, so when the product arrives, shooting is gonna be a lot faster. Once you have all of your clips, you are going to grab all of this and put it into CapCut. If you've downloaded the tutorial, you are already going to be a pro at this. So you're gonna bring everything to CapCut and you're gonna bring your videos to life. The script is going to help with this as well. So you're gonna put all of your clips. If you need to do some voiceovers, this is the time where you are going to record them. If there are texts that you need to add to the video, this is where the magic happens. Once your content is ready, you are going to export it and then transfer it to your computer, where you're going to move the files to your Google Drive, which you already would have had created, and then you're gonna share it with the brand to keep everything as organized as possible. If you're doing multiple files, if you are sending raw files, meaning the clips, all of the clips that you use to put this video together, you put everything very organized. Brands appreciate organization, so I know you can do that for them. You put all of this together, move it to your drive, and then send it to the brand. Most brands expect content to be delivered between 5 to 7 days. If you need longer than that, discussed all of it in the negotiation part. Make sure the agreement includes it. And it is very often for brands to expect at least 1 revision. Some brands will require 2 revisions, but I am a firm believer that if you have sent concepts and scripts in advance and you have used all of that to create your content, the revisions should be minimal. Some minor revisions can include text editing or maybe a switch of words in your voiceover. And some brands may even ask you if you can send them a version without any text or without any music. The next step in our workflow is content approval, the exciting part when brands love your content and your work has been almost completed. Usually when your content has been approved, you have the green light to send an invoice. For the longest time, I've been using Stripe for my invoicing, but since Stripe takes a commission from payments, if a brand is paying me through a bank transfer or if they're using their own paying platform, I skip Stripe overall and I create an invoice in Canva and send that instead. 3 things I want you to do in this stage aside from sending your invoice. 1, give thanks, of course, to the brand. If there's something in particular that you loved very much, make sure to share it. 2, ask for a testimonial. If this was a partnership that you really enjoyed and you have the feeling that the brand really enjoyed your work as well, use this as an opportunity to ask for a testimonial. You're going to be able to use this on your portfolio. Testimonials are gold in the content creation world. The 3rd thing you are going to do is to ask about future projects. Always leave the door open if this partnership has been very successful, especially if you're working with an agency. You want to make sure they know that you are open for future partnerships. Maybe they have other brands that they're working with. So you want to make it very clear that you are open to work again in the future. Regarding payments, keep in mind that a lot of brands will work on a net 15, net 30, and even net 60 payment term. It is up to you to negotiate that beforehand when you're talking about the contract, but make sure you're keeping everything organized. Make sure you have your own spreadsheet so you can keep track of which partnerships have been completed, when you're expecting payments, and so on. I know this video was on the long side. It was like an entire training on what to expect behind the scenes on a brand partnership. I really hope this was helpful. I really hope you can use this hand in hand as you are celebrating and going through your first brand partnerships, especially if you are a content creator mom. If you know that this is something that you would love to try full-time, if partnering with brands as a content creator mom sounds like your vibe, you are going to love the experience, which is my 8-week UGC immersion, which is on sale right now at a crazy 85% off. 8 weeks breaking it all down for you. How I turned my creator mom business from 0 into almost 75K in 2 years, and how you can start making 4 figures a month partnering with brands. Join the experience by clicking the link below and check out all of the other resources I am leaving down here for you. If there is something in particular that you would love for me to create a video on, leave it down here as well. Thank you so much for watching. Again, welcome to A Mom Creates. Make sure to like this video and don't you dare go without hitting subscribe.